Hey, what's up everybody? Tarafdar back with a brand new video. Today I want to talk about choosing the right business partners and why it's critical that you know exactly what to look for. What are some of the factors, whether it be a short-term partnership, long-term joint venture, or anything in between. Now the reason why you want to choose the right business partner is because there's so many different components in a business that can essentially go either the right or wrong way. Now, you don't want to be stuck with a partner that you don't understand. You don't want to be stuck with some indecisive individual that you bring on board who you have faith in to take over some business matters like an adult. And unfortunately, that's one of the incidents that I wanted to share with you guys because, quite honestly, just recently I've had the opportunity, and that's why I haven't been on my finance talk last Saturday and Sunday, which is just yesterday, guys, is because I came through an opportunity that I wanted to grab. And unfortunately, what ended up happening was this specific opportunity, albeit that it's a very lucrative opportunity, which by the way, I'm going to still do it, with or without this individual in particular. I don't want to put any names or defame anybody, but that's what happens, right? So just to give you a backstory of all this started. So you look for somebody who's essentially experienced in whatever they're doing. You look for somebody who knows exactly, what kind of field they're in. And hopefully, whatever field they're in, they're really good at it. So this is what I found, and this was actually a student of mine. Actually, he just recently became a student, but more effectively what happened was this particular individual, I helped him with their credit, him and his wife. And what ended up happening was we were talking terms, everything was agreed upon. I traveled, and then when I went there, things turned around a little bit last minute, because by the time I came back, we were discussing terms and deals, putting things together, and that individual decided all of a sudden to back up because he wasn't comfortable being tied to my company. But from the get-go, we decided that that's going to be the structure we're going to work with. From the get-go, we had articulated exactly what we were looking to do, exactly what kind of information we wanted to put, and end result is that person wasn't comfortable because they felt that they wanted to do their own thing. And I get it. I understand you guys want to rise, you guys want to do your own thing. And of course that's business, but got a little squirrel right there following us around. So there's a lot of different things that come in the business world when it comes to choosing a right partner that you have to be careful with. So I think that our discussion is going to be primarily focused on finding the right business partner. What are some of the factors that you should consider on a personal level and on a business level, and why it's important that you pay attention to these factors and stick to them no matter what. And as harsh as it sounds, if you have to drop that partner, you have to drop them. You make sure that they don't do harm to you on a personal level, especially your reputation and brand, and you make sure that they don't do harm to you on a business level, especially on the sense where you're trying to start something but you're not able to do it because that person decides that he's indecisive or she's indecisive and they don't want to move forward because they don't feel the deal is sweet enough, even though they had agreed upon it initially. And that's the type of thing that you don't want to be stuck with, because if you're doing that in business, that means that you're probably going to do that to your customers if you start the business and or whatever it is that you're doing. So to me, regardless of that person's involvement, regardless of whether or not they're in 100% or they decided not to be in, I'm still doing my business. I'm still going to pursue it because I believe that opportunity is for me. I think that I can create a better environment by going into that business, changing the way it works and operates, specifically contributing to that niche and industry. So I'm still going forward. So the point of this discussion is we got to decide, what are some of the things and factors that you have to look out for when it comes to choosing the right business partner. So the first thing I got to say to you guys is look to see whether or not they're mentally unstable. As a person, what are some of the psychological stresses that they're going through? What kind of decisions are they making? And how are those decisions being made, right? So if you have unique, multiple individuals that are essentially, working with you, and you guys are, like let's say that individual that you're trying to be a partner with has gone through some extensive challenges in their personal life that they weren't able to essentially overcome because of those psychological stresses, and then they have a history of essentially getting angry or mad, maybe that's an opportunity for you to kind of figure things out and say, well, maybe that's not the best position for me to be in as a partnership. Now, unfortunately, what happens is most of us, we go into business and we kind of come across these type of situations after the fact, right? So we discover them as we're doing business with them. Sometimes last minute, like just my incident right now, actually. And unfortunately, when that happens, you kind of left to figure out, hey man, what do I do now? What's the next step? What do I do to fix this situation so that I don't put myself in this mess ever again? Most of us, we have a very difficult time getting back in our feet. And the reason why that happens is because we are not really mentally ready to accept the fact that things will go wrong. We're not mentally ready to accept the fact that when you start a business, when you're doing something, someone out there is trying to put you down. Someone out there, regardless whether they're a client or a potential student or mentee, are looking to put you in a position where it's going to be very difficult because, they're cowards inside. They have decision makers, which is the second factor aside from mental stability. They have outside decision makers that they are influenced by, which is a big no-no for me, because we set the standards from the get-go when we start our business, and we say, look, are you going to be the only decision maker, or there's going to be somebody else that you have to go to? And unfortunately, what happened was, to me, I thought that person was a mature adult. They, can make wise adult-based business decisions, and I was kind of wrong, right? So what ended up happening was that person backed off from the deal because, like I said, they felt that they didn't want to be tied to me, and that they didn't want the deal to go the way it was going. So when these situations happen, and when these type of incidents are in place, the best you can do is essentially be prepared, like I said. So number one, are they mentally stable? Can they handle themselves? Ask them questions that will basically give you the answer in reference to, hey, what are some of the challenges that you had that really took it up on your psychological stress, that took it up on your mindset? And what have you done about those things that will make you stand out and really, appeal to that situation as a leader? And the second thing you got to look out for is, are you the only decision maker? Are you going to back off of this last minute and get that commitment up front? That's a very critical component. And no matter what happens, if that person backs off or not, it's on them. It's no longer on you. So if that's the situation, at least you're protected and you've done the best you possibly can to essentially, shine and succeed and make it the best you possibly can when it comes to business dealings. So that's the thing. Decision makers are very critical, and I think that you guys have to essentially, take part in understanding, hey, are you the only decision maker? Are you going to be influencing the decisions with a collaborative effort with another individual that I am not aware of? And even if I am aware of that person, I want to make sure that we're very clear that you are the one who's going to be making the decision instantaneously as an adult, and not rely and depend on other individuals to help you make that decision. So regardless of the situation, that's one of the key components that I think you have to, pay very close attention to. And in business, this is a very critical one for you guys. In business, you cannot play the victim mentality card. It doesn't work. The business doesn't care about that. It's a system. It's a machine. It's supposed to make cash. It doesn't count in for, the emotional stuff that you go through, and or let's say the personal stress that you have going on. As a business, the only thing that matters is, I believe, is you got to be very careful with bringing on personal BS and making sure that that doesn't affect the way that you do your things. So how do you do that, right? How do you go about making sure that you're successful? How do you go about making sure that, as a business owner, you don't have that kind of victim mentality? The first thing is, you got to make sure that that person that you're bringing on, and again, we're talking about partnerships here, is not really tied to, negative stresses around their life and saying, oh, this is my fault, this is, that person's fault, and I should have done this, I should have done that. But rather, they're more focused on the outcome. And what I mean by that is, you have some people in situations where we're talking about personal credit, and you have these individuals telling you, hey, look, I have a very hard time with my personal credit. I have a very hard time trying to recover because of the decisions that I made in the past. And ultimately, what ends up happening is, when you go through that situation, and guys, it's really funny, you got this little black squirrel that's following me around, and a couple of them actually, because I think I'm stepping on their acorn. All right, so just to go back on that, a lot of people try to essentially start off at the wrong side in business. They're not really sure of what they want to do. And like I said, you can't play the victim mentality card. You can't go on the psychological stress factor if they're not stable. And of course, you want to make sure that you're going with the decision maker. You can't have the victim mentality card. It doesn't work for you in business. Like I said, it's a machine. You're supposed to service you, make sure that makes money for you, and then you go on your way. That's just the way it works. Typically speaking, hopefully, in that situation. But just to elaborate a little bit further, my incident wasn't the most pleasant. I actually did go through couple of days, actually a week worth of things. I put a lot of effort in this whole thing. Beautiful thing is I learned a lot. This joint venture that just went south. And I actually did successfully get into the market. Now the rest is up to me. The rest is essentially launching this operation, making sure that I do my thing and growing this business. And I know it's going to be a very lucrative business, like I said, because I'm going to put my own input into this. I'm going to make sure it succeeds, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to create the outcome that I want for this business. So, that's a start. So I want you guys to think, if there's any obstacles or challenges, think of those components. We talked about number one, make sure that person's psychologically stable. Ask them the questions, what are some of the things that actually took a hit on your mindset and your psyche that you were able to overcome. Second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that they're the only ones that are making the business decisions. Third, right, make sure that, all this commitment is up front, that, they accept the terms, that, they are the ones that are not playing don't give them the chance to play the victim mentality card. That's a business that we're in. We're not, like I said, it's a machine you're servicing. It doesn't know any emotions or logic or anything like that on what you feel. So you got to be careful with that, no matter what happens. So with all that said, there are some other things that I want to share with you guys. Now, this particular individual, he and his wife decided to insult me for God knows what, because they felt that the deal wasn't sweet enough for them. I'm pretty sure, like, when that situation happens, two things happen. Number one, they're coward to face me directly, so that they use all sorts of tactics like, hey, I'm going to hurt myself, or play that victim mentality card, as I said. And the second thing is, they want to cut you under the deal. But unfortunately, because of the way I position myself, that's not going to be a really small, big possibility, because I made sure that I'm going to win long term. Okay, so just, partnership is not an easy thing, is what I'm trying to say, right? When you go in business, you have to be careful with who you partner with. You have to be careful with who you're trusting. Unfortunately, we don't know people until we're actually sometimes into the deal itself, which is too late. And we don't want to be in those situations. When you do business, you want to be in situations where it's not too late. When you do business, you want to be in situations where you simply say, this is it. We're going to do business, and we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to make sure that we prosper no matter what happens. And that's what you guys got to do. Okay? So just to go over it again, number one, mental stability, very critical. Number two, I would say possibly you're looking at the decision making. Business decision makers, who are they? How much are they influenced by outside factors, whether it be their spouses, their friends, families, whoever it is. Number three, don't play the victim mentality card. It doesn't work with me. It doesn't work for business. Simple as that. And then critical factor number four, I think, if I haven't mentioned it yet, is, make sure that all terms and agreements are highlighted clearly, that you're actually winning in the deal, that you're not losing, that you can have somebody that knows their expertise, and you go forward with that. Okay? And one of the other things I want to tell you guys is, in the next couple of videos, I want to make it interesting for you guys. I'm going to share some of the things that I haven't really divulged out there, because unfortunately, the same person that was, the incident that happened with the joint venture just recently, and their wife decided to find some information and, use that as their victim mentality card. That, I don't know what kind of psychotic distress they're going through, or what mental issues they have, and they're in an industry where they have to be at a moral high standard, so literally, like, they can get their licenses suspended for whatever they're doing. But I'm not that kind of cruel individual that's going to go out there and position themselves to struggle with that, right? Because I believe being a better human being is the answer to a lot of things in life. So I'm going to be sharing with you in the next couple of videos some of the business experiences that I've had, the failures that I've had, the mistakes that I've made that cost me, close to 60,000 Canadian dollars in damages. And actually, they're choosing the wrong business partners, and just unfortunately, them dragging you along. But one of the biggest things I can tell you is, from that experience, I became a better individual, investor, and or business owner. And I think that that's something that I can give you guys that would be invaluable, especially if you're trying to start your own business, and of course the life lessons that come with it. Okay, so with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you like what I said, give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you feel, and part of that joint venture discussion that we just had is going to be critical for you and what you learn. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Turn that bell icon on so every time there's a brand new video, you'll be first to be notified. And aside from that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Ali Tarafdar, your guide and mentor. Bye for now.